What is going on, guys? It's EP from the Coach's Vault. This is the Minority Report edition number 2. Okay, so this is where me, Marcus, and Terrence interview a coach. And today we have the great David Scorzelli, who is the strength and conditioning coach for Syracuse. David and I interned together when I was at Syracuse in 2017. And he just took the mantle. And now he just elevated himself up to being coach. Man, this guy's great, and he's gonna be dropping dimes for you. How are you doing today, David?
What's up, guys? Like I mentioned, got to intern with him in 2017. Been at Syracuse since 2016. We'll talk about it, I'm sure, at some point. But just right spot, the right time, and got to work with some great people. And happy to be here. Excited for what you guys are doing, and I think this is great. So,
yeah, appreciate you coming on, man. I mean, let's be honest. What else are you gonna be doing? And you love me anyway, so might as well.
Yeah, for sure. No. I got time for it, I guess.
Exactly. But how are you doing with all this COVID stuff? How's New York looking up in Syracuse?
Good. I mean, everybody hears about New York City and how much stuff we got going on, but we're about 4.5 hours away from that. It's not as bad up there. So, but we kind of get washed away with all that stuff and kind of grouped in with them. So New York is still pretty shut down right now. You can't really walk out of your house without a mask on. You can't really do anything public at all without a mask on. It's pretty crazy going on right now. Actually, I was in Target. They got the whole entire store. They got 6 feet taped out all the way around the store. Like you can only walk like one direction and stuff. You guys got that going on where you're at too?
That's like my shop, right? They have like every aisle is like a one-way for every aisle. Yeah, and then they have like little circles of like how far you should be next to somebody. I'm like, it's insane.
Yeah, it's just unprecedented. Yeah, I mean Texas, we're progressing, man. My gym just opened up on Monday, and I mean we can wear a mask, but there's people that like just go in the restaurant without a mask. Like down here, nobody gives a fuck. Like I don't know why. I think it's serious. So like I'll wear a mask just to protect. It's more for other people than myself. Really.
For sure.
But at the same time, it's just crazy time, man. What the hell are you gonna do?
I think the way they got our phases going, I think we got like at least 3, maybe 4 weeks before they're even going to consider opening up like restaurants, even like little stuff. Like the gyms aren't going to be open for a while.
Shit. Yeah. So that means you guys aren't going to be training for a while either.
Yeah. Gotta do what you gotta do, right?
Yeah, exactly. Gotta do what you gotta do. All right, so let's get the ball rolling, man. So why don't you go ahead and tell us about yourself, like your background, childhood, how you got into Syracuse, and how you became, strength and conditioning coach. Go ahead.
Yeah, my path to working at Syracuse strength conditioning is actually kind of a path of luck if you look at it a certain way. Like I grew up in Cicero, which is like 10 minutes from Syracuse. Just kind of never really played football or anything. I was a soccer player, liked to run track a little bit, tennis. I wrestled for a while. Like I just kind of did a bunch of different sports, but went to school actually out in Arkansas, Harding University, a little D2 school out in Arkansas. And, I studied I wanted to be an athletic trainer at first. Then ended up changing to exercise science and going toward that kind of route. And my academic advisor actually suggested it. Like I wasn't even really familiar with it as a job until I was probably end of my sophomore year of college. You just kind of like, have you ever thought about this? You like to be in the gym, you like to play sports, you like that general atmosphere. So I kind of looked into it. My junior year, I took the test, my junior year, I took the test, the NSCA test, and did that. Then I got an internship between junior and senior year. I worked at Coastal Carolina down in South Carolina. Worked with their football team and their basketball team and women's basketball team just for the summer. And that's really where I fell in love with it. Like that's really where like I knew this was what I wanted to do. And we could talk about that too. Like I got in with some coaches there, Coach Antoine Floyd, Coach Woods, Sonia Woods over there. And they really just opened my eyes to the excitement and the like how awesome the job was. You know, it's one of those things where you always hear, right? You always hear like, oh, you'll never work. If you love your job, you'll never work a day in your life. Like you always hear that, people say that. And it's like, you know, you don't believe that until you find something you love to do. Right. So I found myself waking up at 4:30 in the morning and like still being excited to go to work, still being excited to do this stuff. And as an intern, I mean, you're just cleaning and picking up, putting stuff down, like doing all that stuff. Like you're not really actually hands-on coaching right off the bat. But it was, for me, it was still like I was part of it. I was in there, and I fell in love with it. And then I had to go back to school, finish up school, and really with Syracuse, I sent out an email. So I actually had two other opportunities for internships coming out of college. I was either going to go to Mississippi State or Mizzou and intern with their football teams. And I was like, well, you know, like interns, you don't make any money. So I'll just shoot an email to Syracuse. It'd be kind of cool to take a year, go live at home where I, you know, don't have to spend any money and intern there. But that was the year Coach Babers got hired. So they were new staff, new everything. So I just shot him an email like, hey, you guys looking for interns? Really excited about what you guys are doing. I'm from the area. Like, would love to come work with you guys. And like 2 days later, Coach Sean Edinger, he emailed me back and said, yeah, man, love to have you. I'm going to, you know, send you to one of my assistants your email and we'll get the ball rolling with that. And rest is history. I showed up, you know, met Evan and didn't punch him in the face the first day I met him. So it was good.
I wanted to hit you so bad, bro. I hated this kid so bad. So much. Yeah. He was just so cocky, but like it's just different when like the thing about David is David knew what he wanted to do when he walked in there. When I walked in there, I would just wanted to fuck it. Like I didn't know what I wanted. I just knew like what this was or like what I kind of wanted. This man knew what he wanted, and for that, like I hated him for it. And then once I actually got to know the kid and how much passion he had for what he was doing, man, like we just fucking clicked. Like,
yeah,
man,
there's a lot of egos in that group. There were 5 of us, and
yeah, 5 of us. I mean, there was a little bit of ego, but like Penny, man, like I think it was just jealousy, and we were trying to all be like top dog, and then like it was just.
Yeah. About it in that type of market, you know, the opportunity is so limited. So I can understand why there's so much competition.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, it's healthy competition for sure. That's what I was gonna say. Like you're pushing people, right? Like
exactly.
You want to hit the guy next to you, but also he's the reason that you're working as hard as you're working. So it's like, you know.
Yeah, man.
In one sense, I can hate Evan because he's the one that's like gets chosen to do this thing for the coaches. Like they ask him to do it, but like it just makes me work that much harder so that I'm the one they ask next time or something. Even though it's like just more work, but like you want to be that guy. So, but yeah, it was good. And then really it was kind of just a war of attrition for me. Like I just stayed there. I decided that they told me that I could stay as long as I wanted to stay until I got something else. So I actually started taking grad school classes at Syracuse, like just paying my own way. I was like, you know, I'll just kind of pay as I go type of deal and stay here until I get another opportunity somewhere else, maybe to be a full-time coach or whatever. And then the staff, a couple spots on the staff kind of opened up. Offensive coordinator for us, went to take a head coaching job at a different school, took 2 of the strength coaches with him. Another one of the strength coaches we were working with got another job somewhere else. So we found ourselves with a head strength coach and me, an intern, and we were the only 2 people that were there that had been there the year before. So he was trying to fill spots. He was trying to get people in there. So I was really the only one that was there that he knew could do everything the way that he wanted it. You know, the head strength coach, you got to do it the way he wants it. It's his program. So he came to me and was like, here's the deal. Like, I need some spots. I need to fill some spots. And he's like, I know you can handle the work, obviously, because I've been doing the work. He's like, it's just like, you have to stop taking grad school classes because I need you here, obviously. Like, you can't be leaving half the day to go to class. You got to do this. And you're only going to be making this amount of money, which isn't any, you know how that works. Like the first job's you never get paid the amount you want to get paid your first job. Like that's just not how it works. So it's like, he's like, but if you do this, like in the future, it's going to help your career out in the long run. So I didn't hesitate. Obviously, like that's what you want to do. You want to be a coach. You want to have the job. So I took the job, and I ended up doing grad school online that next year. Like, so I would go to work for 12 hours, go home, do my homework, do grad school, and got my master's degree in a year. And now I'm going into year 3 as a full-time coach. So yeah. It's been a pretty, circumstantial. I look around and I talk to people, and it's really hard to come out of college and get I'm at a Power 5 school, working a Power 5 football job, and I'm 25 years old. Like, that's not a normal thing, but like at the same time, I can't just sit here and be like, yeah, I'm a badass, like I can do all this stuff. Like, I was really in the right place at the right time, and I stuck to what I believed in, and I just like kept moving forward, kept my head down, and like, I still am. Like, you have to keep always moving forward, but
yeah,
kind of the path,
Yeah, man. No, definitely, man. I think it was a long road, man. Like I think a lot of interns and stuff like that have this thing where like, well, I'm gonna just intern and then I'm gonna get a job. I mean,
right.
It's out like that, especially like in the college atmosphere, man. Like, you're not personal training. Nobody's asking for more personal trainers. Being a strength coach, especially in a D1 Power 5 school, is like, I mean, David had it. Like, if you really put it into numbers, you stayed there almost 3 years before you actually got the job, or almost 2, something like that.
Yeah, 2 full years. Yeah, 2 full years, and then a little bit, and then he hired me. So I was in my 3rd year as an intern. So.
Yeah.
That's crazy, because it's like you go in 3 years, probably almost 3 years before even getting paid to just hopefully land a spot.
Sure. And that just shows the amount of passion that he had. Like he knew what he wanted. I mean, he went out and get it. If it just, and the worst thing, the crazy thing is that at the end of the line, those 2 years add up, and then he can go somewhere else. I mean, and it just was the right time for him. So it's perfect, man. So
yeah, well, that was like the thought process. Like, I wasn't planning on working at Syracuse. That's not how that works, right? Like, I'm working for this staff. Like, I'm not trying to take their jobs because they have the jobs. Like, I'm hoping that they refer me, or I get a graduate assistantship somewhere. Or like I get an opportunity to go somewhere else and make a name for myself. So, I mean, it just, that's one of the things I believe in. Like, good things happen if you have the right mentality. Like, mentality is everything. So, like, if you're doing it for the right reasons and you're serious about it and you believe in it, like, things will line up for you just by the way that you work.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, man, it's just crazy. So I wanted to go back into internships just because, like, it's still something that I'm passionate in, and something that I want to be a mentor because of how powerful. I know, Jose. I used to hate Jose. Like, the lessons that guy gave me for that year that I was in Syracuse, like, I use now.
Never forget him, for sure.
And that moment, it was like I didn't really see it until after. But what are some tips that you, even though obviously we don't know when things are going to open up yet, but what are some tips you can give some of these interns that are grinding for these D1 positions or just positions in college, how limited those are. So what are some tips that you've learned from like your internships to your coaching now to your mentoring also?
Yeah, I mean, as far as two aspiring coaches, two people that want to be collegiate strength coaches, and even strength coaches on any level or anywhere, I mean, you cannot have expectations of anything, really. Nothing will be handed to you, and there is no set timeline. I think that's the biggest thing that it was hard for me to understand. There is no set timeline. Every single intern, including myself, that I've ever met has come in with a 2-year plan or 4-year plan. And like, I'm going to intern for a year or a year and a half. And then I'm going to go to grad school. And then I'm going to get a GA-ship. And then after grad school, I have my master's. I'm going to get like a Division II job or Division I job. And then I'm going to move up. Like, that doesn't happen. Almost no strength coach that I've talked to has done that or has followed their specific plan. You have to be able to adapt and adjust. We hear that in our industry all the time. Like, you have to be able to adapt to any situation and any timeline change. Like, for me, it was, I thought I was going to go intern for a year. And then, like, the coaches that I'm interning for are going to help me get a graduate assistantship somewhere. And then that's going to be my foot in the door. And then I'm just going to get a good job. Like, then I'll be making good money. I'll be set. I'll be happy. And like Evan said, like, I ended up there 2.5 years making $0. Like, I was doing like side jobs on the weekends and after work and stuff just to like make a little bit of money. Now, I'm lucky because I did it somewhere where I could have a little bit of my family support as that intern. So like, I wasn't paying crazy amount of money in rent. I wasn't, doing that. And at the level of football, we got fed a little bit. They gave us some clothes, and that's huge, especially for, strength coaches and trainers and everybody. Like, we love to eat. So it's, that was lucky, but like, I was there for 2.5 years, and that's not where I wanted to be. Like, I spent the whole second year, like, trying to figure out how to get away from Syracuse, trying to figure out how to find something to move myself forward because I felt stuck. But sometimes being stuck is okay, because the process of getting yourself unstuck actually makes you a better coach and a better person for that. If I had never gotten myself in a situation where I felt stuck, I would never have known that I needed to push myself farther. Because I thought that, like, when I interned with Evan, by the time that summer was over, like, I thought I was good. Like, I was like, man, I did a good ass job. Like, we all did a good job interning. Like, we all are going to get good recommendations. We all are going to do this. We all are going to do that. And like, by not getting that, by not moving forward, like, it made me realize, okay, like, time to turn it up a notch. Like, I got to find a way to be better.
I got you.
Yeah, it's crazy. That internship just was huge. You know what I mean? Like, a huge like impact in my life too. I mean, when I went there, like, we were only supposed to be there 10 weeks. I mean, I didn't know like the difference. Like, Jose was like, hey, you're gonna be there 10 weeks, you only be there in summer. Then the summer turned into the season, and the season turned into the spring ball, and like, it turned into a year. And that whole year, like David said, like I was expecting like it to be easy to go into the next transition into my life. Like, just go, like, I haven't figured it out. I'm here a year. I know all my shit. Boom. I mean,
exactly.
And like, we did have glowing recommendations. Remember that time Coach G made us fucking stand up and read our papers? That he wrote recommendations. You have to fucking read it. And he made us stand up in front of the whole staff and read it, but we had to read it in like kind of like
his way.
Like, yeah, kind of his way, but we had to kind of read it like coaches. And like, man, my nervous ass was like, bro, like, Coach, he scared the shit out of me. So I was like,
he made me remind of the British accent.
Yeah, he made me do it in a British accent, which I can't do. So like, it's just, man, that like, I wouldn't change it for the world. But I mean, I fell out of love with it, and just like David said, man, like, my road to going to LSU was like not the way I wanted to do it. I didn't even know if I was going to go to grad school now. I knew I wanted to get my master's degree. I actually fell out of love with college strength and conditioning by the time I was done with Syracuse. I mean, like, I didn't know this was what I wanted to do. So, like, at the end of my internship, when I left, like, David came back and I left, man, I went to Texas to try it out, and then, like, one thing led to another, and then I got the, like, all the hard work. So this is the thing that interns need to understand. All the hard work never gets unnoticed.
Yeah.
It never gets unnoticed. So I had Coach E, and I had the other Jose, like which was number 4 guy at the time, vouching for me, sending my information, like checking people. I wasn't even there anymore. I mean, they were like fucking like trying to get me spots, and then LSU just magically appeared because like there was a new staff. I mean, and then again, circumstantial, and it just people. If you do good,
People.
Yeah, you just know people. Yeah, I mean, it's all that. So for all the interns out there, bro, it's a process. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, I remember those conversations we would have when you was stressing about, dude, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
I don't know, like, if I should go back to school. I don't know what school
Yeah.
going to.
What
school I should email? How many schools should I email? Dude, I remember those things.
Everybody. I was paying so much money for applications for schools. I was emailing every coach. Like, I did all this stuff, and I still didn't get, like, you don't understand how many schools I applied to, and I didn't get answered to, and I still got a chance to go to LSU. like you never know. But you also got to think like David's situation is different. Like he lived with his family. Like I went up there and I knew nobody like except Jose.
You and Adam and Penny were all.
We didn't know anybody.
Yeah.
So I took a big risk to go there, and then I mean I got lucky enough that I worked hard enough and I was gonna stay. I lived in the pantry closet for 8 months on an air mattress with no door, so I had a Batman curtain in front of it.
Batman curtain, I remember that.
But you know what though? Sometimes that's even better. Without even realizing it, throwing yourself into a whole different environment forces you to grow up and to actually learn.
Absolutely.
So that way there's no distraction. So that's something that maybe like the future interns want to do it themselves is take that position far away so that it helps you grow. And helps you learn by yourself a little more.
Yeah, 100%. I always tell people they should at least move away from their families like once. Yeah, I mean, like if you take a year, just go away and just like live by yourself. Yeah, I mean, you find out like if you can handle shit, and you actually have to handle shit because you're 4 or 5 hours away from your parents. Yeah, I mean, like I'm an only child, bro. I'm fucking spoiled. So like, I went back when I went to Syracuse, man. I had nothing. So I mean, great, like one of the best experiences of my life and all that stuff. But yeah, so let's move on unless you guys have any other questions for the intern stuff.
No, you're good.
Okay. All right. So we want to talk a little bit. I want to talk a little bit about what you guys are doing, especially that's New York. What you guys are doing for your guys right now. Like I know you guys can't physically see your guys. Like, is there anything else other than programs that you guys are providing for your guys?
I mean, it's tough, right? So it's not even that we can't see them. Like everything's closed down. So, accessing the weight room is hard. Like we can't just walk in the weight room, even if no one's in there. Like you can't just walk in there. So like everybody, obviously, everybody went home. Like they're all home right now. So they're doing the whole Zoom meeting deal and team meetings on Zoom and all that. Just trying to get by. Like we're trying to give them like their workouts and stay just. I think the biggest thing right now is constant communication. Like, there's so many distractions when you're home. Like no matter what environment you've grown up in, no matter what environment home is, like there are so many distractions. And we find that constant communication is the best way to just kind of not keep them in football mode, but keep their minds like on that there's an end in sight, that there's a goal that we have to accomplish, right? So, I mean, they've been doing a good job. If you kind of look at the Syracuse football Instagram and Twitter and stuff, like they've been having some of the former and current NFL players like coming on team meetings and getting these guys like all on the team meetings and like talking to them. We had Chandler Jones on. He was talking to him about the process for that, like just going to Syracuse, being a first round draft pick for the Patriots, and everything from expectations to growing up with two other incredible athletic brothers, and stuff like that. So I think the communication that we're doing is actually is really good. I think we're keeping these guys kind of in check. They're doing as much as we're allowed to do that the NCAA says. You know what I'm saying? Like whatever the NCAA says we're allowed to do, we're doing. We just can't really have them in Syracuse right now. Yeah. So that's kind of the toughest part is.
Are you doing any type of like one-on-ones with all your players? Also, like I know since you can't physically have groups, and and like your strength coaches may not be close to them where they live. So are you doing like one-on-one check-ins with like going over like details of their program and how to like do certain things?
So we have actually now I have pretty much every player's phone number in my phone just from contacting. Like but the thing is like one of the things that we're not allowed to do, the NCAA says we're not allowed to do, is we cannot do like Zoom workouts. Like we cannot, like they can't send us videos. We can't force them to work out. We can't expect them to work out. We can't monitor that because we don't have trainers present. We don't have any way of actually being there, like spotting and protecting them and stuff like that. So technically, every lift is optional for them right now because we can't make them do it, because if we were forcing athletes to work out and then one gets hurt, that's a big problem, because most of them are probably working out in their garages or working out in their basements or in their backyards. So there's definitely not medical personnel, or there's definitely not trainers that like can get to them. So it's one of those things where we're trying to make workouts that we know they can do. We've kind of got in touch with the guys and seen like what kind of stuff that they have available to them. Some guys don't have, some guys have dumbbells and bands. Some guys have full weight rooms in their basement, and then some guys have nothing. Some guys have their bedroom. Like, they got to use a backpack, or they got to use, their shoes to do like rotator cuff stuff. Like they don't have, or books. Like that's what they got. So we kind of get in touch with them and try and just like keep them accountable and keep their like head on straight. But we can't really, we're kind of hands tied. So I think it's actually going to show us, and every single school is kind of under the same restrictions, really. Right. And I think it's going to show when the guys get back, first of all, which teams have the type of culture where they can fight through adversity, and which guys on those teams really want to make a difference and really want to get better, because it's 100% up to them now. Right. Until we can get back. We don't have, 7 a.m. lift, you better be there. Like, we don't have that. Like,
I was going to ask about that. Like, how do you feel about this upcoming season? You guys are still quarantined. You didn't have your spring ball, practicing. Like, a lot of the camps are now going to be pushed back a little bit. So, like, how confident and, like, how do you feel is going into this next season as a strength coach?
As a strength coach, that's actually a good question. We actually were talking about that a couple of weeks ago with the strength staff, our strength staff, just like, just kind of shooting the shit. But we were, I think as a strength coach and any coach, really, you have confidence in your ability to do your job. And I think one of the things that they did a good job on, as far as the coaches and the NCAA getting together, talking about what it would take to have a football season. No matter what, we'll have some time to get these guys ready. They're not going to have us come back on August 21st and play a game on September 1st. Like they'll push the season back, or they'll do whatever they have to do to make sure we have, enough time to get these guys ready. Now, how much time that is, I don't know. But I think when they give us the green light, we're ready. We're going to hit the ground running. And I think that our guys are ready as far as mentality wise. I think they're itching to get back. If you do something you love and you play a sport and you're told you can't do it, this is like everybody's been injured playing sports before and not been able to play.
Right.
That's kind of how I look at it. Right. So you're sitting there injured with your feet, with your like ankle up or your shoulder in a sling, and you can't play, and you're sitting there, I want to get back. I want to get back. What do I got to do to get back? I think that's kind of where everyone's at right now. We're sidelined and we just want to get back. So I think I'm confident. I'm confident that we can play and have a healthy season. I think that I think we can really do that. Now, will everybody's football team run as efficiently as it would? Probably not. Is there going to be a little adjustment period when the season starts? Probably. But I think that we can have a very successful, very what's the word I'm looking for here? I think we can have a season, and we can. I'm confident that we can do that safely and get these guys' bodies ready.
Yeah.
All right, that's amazing to hear.
Yeah.
Because I'm not gonna lie, as a coach, I'm gonna be nervous because like 2 months, almost 3 months for some people, some people haven't really worked out. You know what I mean? Now you just worrying about like when you come back, how much in shape you are from all the quarantine 15, 30, whatever somebody has, what kind of strength levels they might have. So it is very nerve-wracking as a strength coach, just thinking about it. Like, what I mean? As a personal trainer, just thinking about it is like, I'll be nervous to find out what did my client do, after during this entire quarantine. Like, did he just sit around and eat?
Majority of them is because that's what I did. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, it's just crazy. But what I'm imagining is like a a full season of all sports at the same time. Like, just imagine they push everything back and just have every single sport exactly at the same time. I'm just saying, like, I would never leave the house because I'm watching football or watching every single sport at the same time.
Right.
The amount of money the world would probably make would be insane.
Yeah, it would be crazy. But yeah, I mean, going back to the strength stuff. I mean, I know there's not much you can do, but what do you think? Like, where do you think the culture of strength and conditioning is going to go now that this is happening? Do you see a change in like how you guys do things, or in the weight room and even in like facilities and stuff like that? Do you see any changes that might be occurring when you guys come back?
When we come back, yeah. I mean, when we first come back, there's going to be a lot of things that we're going to be required to do, I guess, as far as having smaller groups, as far as, they're going to be making sure we clean the weight room between every group, between every guy touching a bar, but if I'm being honest, overall, I don't think it's going to change that much. I think a high level professional gym and a high level collegiate weight room are some of actually the cleanest places. I mean, even before all this, we wiped everything down on a daily basis with this mixture of nasty smelling liquid that just killed everything.
Yeah.
And we did that every single day, the interns, and we would get checked. I mean, the coaches would walk through and be like, we need to do this better. We need to fix this more. Like, we have such an established regimen of cleaning that place that we might have to do it more often, like 3-4 times a day. But I really think we've always done a good job. And most places like that do a good job because that's so important. Like, you don't want one guy getting sick on your team, because then one guy gets sick, everybody's sick. That's how it goes.
Yeah.
Right.
And locker room is all close. You guys are with each other all the time. One guy gets sick, everybody gets sick, especially on plane rides, bro.
Yeah.
That's the worst. But yeah, man, like our regiment for like both Syracuse and LSU. I mean, Syracuse was just a different level. Like, man, like you would see something, we would have to do everything all over again. You know what I mean? Just like if the S wasn't turned up a certain way, or the holes were important, like not even organizational wise, but like dirt on this, or like a chalk paint on that, bro. Like it was you guys got shit for it. So like our attention to detail for like all that kind of stuff was that, and it should be in every single weight room, because we all hold the standard, we all practice what we preach. But I mean, like in Syracuse, it's the next level. So I do expect you guys to be fine. But I just wanted to see where your head was at with that.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's going to be, and I think there's going to be state by state restrictions. I mean, you see now, like some states are open, some states aren't, but I think that will probably carry over. Some states and some places are going to have more regulation on those types of things, on gyms, on restaurants, than other places. But it's just going to be, I don't think it's going to affect our job. I think we're going to be able to do our job. Like, we might have to have more groups in a day, so we might be coaching 6 or 7 groups in a day instead of 2. But I mean,
do what you gotta do, man.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yep. Just like the meme says, it is what it is, man. It is what it is.
It's what it is.
All right, but we're let's get away from COVID and this dark ass time that we're in. Whether I want to go over some of your coaching inspirations through internships, through reading, through stuff like that. Like how did you kind of build yourself to become the coach that you are today through those inspirations?
Yeah, for me, I mean, it started with one of my professors at Harding. Like, when he the one that suggested this job to me, the way he explained it made it seem too good to be true. He explained, hey, there's this job where you get to go and you get to coach athletes in a weight room. Then when you're done, you get to work out in that same weight room while you're working. And then you go home. And I'm like, wow. Like, let me do that. So
there's a lot in there. There's a lot of minor details you missed in there.
Yeah, right. A bunch of shit, but I mean, it's close.
When you put it like that, sign me up. Like,
yeah.
But he was the strength coach for some of the Olympic sports there, like the he did the track team, the soccer team. So he let me come in and just kind of check it out and watch. And you know, there, I was like, wow, this is cool. And then he looked at me and he's like, okay, cool, go clean that rack over there. I was like, what? He's like, yeah, go clean the rack. If you want to be a student, you got to do this. And then he was like, hey, you know, you got to do this. But it was always something that he did. He didn't have interns at a Division II. So like, it was one of those things where like, he never did anything or told me to do anything or asked me to do anything that he didn't himself already do. And that was the first day I learned that lesson. And I carry that with me to this day. And every good coach that I've ever come across has that same principle. Like, it's not just exclusive to him. Every good coach has that principle. And so I've added that to my principles, because no player can respect somebody telling them to do something if they haven't already done it or are currently doing it or know how to do it.
Yeah.
Like, you're never gonna, you know, you can't tell a guy how to fix his bench press if you don't even know how to bench press properly. Yeah. You know, that'd be like, and me having never played football, that I could never tell a guy, this is how you need to do this football play, because one, I've never coached it, I've never seen it, I've never done it. Okay, so, but being a strength coach, I can go in there and be like, hey, I compete in powerlifting. I, you know, lifted and played sports in general. Like, I know exactly what it takes, and all these programs we're giving the guys, I've done at least once.
Yeah.
You know, and every program that I make for myself, obviously I do, and I test new things out. So, that's probably one of the biggest things. And it was the first thing I ever learned was you cannot ask someone to do something that you wouldn't be willing to do yourself. And having been an intern and now being a full-time coach, and now I'm the one asking interns to do things, I can do that with the confidence and like of knowing that like how it should be done, and that one day if they do it the right way and do it properly, they'll be in my shoes. So it kind of works out that way. I'm not asking them to do something just because I don't want to do it. Like, that's kind of
counterintuitive. And I mean, it's what I mean. They're interns. Go ahead and do it. Well, I understand what you.
Don't abuse the interns.
Don't act like some coaches don't fucking don't. I be doing that sometimes too. I used to do it like, yeah, man, just go ahead and do that. I just don't want to do that shit. But I mean, but 100%. But it
is kind of a hazing thing, though. You know, I mean, you got to weed out the ones that don't want to do the work.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, for real.
As that sounds, like, if they're gonna push back and not want to do that type of stuff, then how are they going to do the actual hard stuff when you're a coach and you are responsible for these athletes? Like,
exactly
what it is. And then, so that's, you know, and then I found a lot actually, you know, going through internships and going through this journey of stuff that I didn't want to do, because I have a tough time. Just number one, because I'm a hard head and like I'm stubborn, but I have a hard time looking at somebody else and saying to myself, I want to be like them. And that's just a personal thing. Like, for some reason in my head, I want to be myself. Like, I never want to change myself to try and be like somebody else. So I try and go from a genuine, like, who I am, and then find things that I need to avoid.
Yeah.
Like, okay, like, don't talk down to athletes. Don't talk down to your interns. Don't, you know, like, certain things that I don't want to do that I've seen other coaches do, or that I've seen, you know, or I've heard from other coaches. But it's really hard for me to pick a coach and say, this is the guy I want to be like, because I'm never going to be like them. I can't be. Like, I'm my own self. And, but there are the coaches that have shown me more of who I am. And those coaches, I guess, are probably the biggest influencers. Like, when I was at Coastal Carolina, there was Coach Floyd, Antoine Floyd, was the head football strength coach. And, you know, I read your article on your intern article, how to be a good intern. And, you know, you talk about, like, always have a pen and stopwatch and a whistle and all that stuff. And that was one thing he told me on day one. And I give Coach Floyd a lot of credit for me finding my coaching voice, because he would put me in situations on purpose that I was not comfortable with, because he knew I wasn't comfortable with it. And
Yeah.
I think, you know, I think one of the things is that he always, or not always, but at some point he saw that I had a potential, and he wanted to put me in those situations and make me be comfortable. One day that I forgot my whistle as an intern. I never used my whistle. I never used my whistle as an intern because I wasn't allowed to run drills. I wasn't a coach. I wasn't allowed to do that stuff. But you were always supposed to have one. And that day I didn't have my whistle. One of the other assistant coaches had to work with another team during the team run. And he told me that I was in charge of running the stadium drills, which means I had to go on top of the stadium and blow the whistle and have the guys run up the stadium. And I didn't have my whistle. And I kind of walked in his office and I was like, Coach, like, I left my whistle at home. And he looked at me, said, excuse me? I said, I left my whistle at home. And he's like, are you a coach? Like, do you want to be a coach? Like, are you kidding me? Like, he just kind of like disappointed fathered me. Like, you know, like,
Yeah.
are you kidding me? And so he's like, he's like, I don't care. Like, you're doing it. And I'm not giving you a whistle. So I had to go out there and I had to yell every rep to get these guys to run. And we're in this wide open stadium in this like they're having trouble hearing me. And I had to figure out, I had then and there, I had to figure out, like, am I going to take the steps to make sure that I have the tools to be successful in my trade? Like, is it worth it for me to make sure I remember my whistle in the morning if I want to be a strength coach? If this is how I want to put food on the table, how can I not remember a whistle?
Yeah.
And that day put everything in perspective. So it didn't go just from the whistle. It went from, you know, I always wanted to make sure I was taking notes. I always wanted to make sure that I was like asking questions. Why are we doing this exercise instead of this exercise? You know, why is this our warm up? Why is this, you know, I was like, I need to have these tools and make sure I remember them and actually take the time to make them useful, because if I don't, then I don't actually want to do this.
Yeah.
You know, and then obviously when I was at Syracuse, being there so long, that's been the most, they've shaped me the most. Coach E, and then Coach Sobel and Coach Tuxon, Wayne Tuxon, and Jose. They were the first staff that I ever worked with, and that was the first time I ever really got a real glimpse of the different ways staffs intermingle with each other too. Like that's a very important complexity that goes into coaching as a full staff. Like, you have to make sure that personal issues or that things that are going on don't affect your coaching, and you have to make sure that you can still be able to communicate and coach and work together, even if not everybody's on the same page in their personal lives. And so, you know, I mean, at Syracuse we share the same office, the whole staff, which I'm sure it's like that a lot of places. But when you share an office with people, and like, you don't get to get away from them. Like, you're on the floor with them, you're in the office with them, you're eating lunch with them, you're working out with them, you're around them 12 to 13 hours a day. Like, you don't get away from them. So that was a good thing for me, like, to see kind of how, as a head strength coach, Coach E handled a room full of testosterone and guys with, you know, they all have their own personalities, you know, all that stuff, and they all have their own views on life, and they come from different backgrounds. And he had to control that environment and make sure that everybody was on the right path. And then the other guys in the office had to make sure that they left what was happening at home. They left what was personally happening between them. If they were upset at each other that day, like, you know, they had to make sure that didn't affect them on the floor of the athletes, because that could be detrimental to the athletes. So that was a big deal for me. And that kind of shaped me, seeing him deal with that. And now being in that room and dealing with it myself. One thing that the staff I work with now is really good at is communication. And Coach E is really good at making sure everything's on the table, making sure everything's out there, making sure, you know, there aren't things being harvested that are going to be detrimental to work. And that biggest takeaway for me from that is get it out there. If you got a problem, get it out there, because it will be forgotten. It will be moved on from. Like, as a strength coach, you cannot hold a grudge. You can't. It's not physically possible. So you got something wrong with me. I got something wrong with you. Let's have this conversation. If it's an argument, we can have it after work. We can do whatever. Get it out on the table, and then the next day you come back to work and you're ready to go. Like, you are now coworkers again. Everybody's good. It never leaves that. But if you hold it in, I mean, it builds up and explodes, and it just becomes a real issue.
Oh yeah, and that right there is a huge lesson, because not to point out names, another intern did have that same situation happen between him and Dave. Remember that situation?
Yeah, I've butted heads with a lot of interns. I was kind of
It was a
I was
fun.
not the best team mentality as an intern, which I do regret.
You got that MJ Kobe mentality.
Yeah. like I said when I started, man, me and David did not get out for the right foot. Actually, David didn't get like on the right foot with any of us. But like the thing that we needed to understand, that we did understand about David, was how sure of himself he was for how young he was. Because he was younger than David. You're still, I mean, you're 2 years younger than me. Like, so I came in there, I came out of college, and so did he. He's 2 years younger than me, and he knows exactly what he wanted. You know what I mean? So like
Yeah,
that fuel, you know what I mean, something that I didn't have yet, and he was younger than me, he had it. So like that, it just makes you jealous. And people don't understand that. So it just started off wrong. But like once you kind of get to know the kid and get to know how passionate he is for what he wants and stuff like that, bro, like David's next level of what he does, and he does well for a reason, because he loves what he does. You know what I mean? But yeah,
it's
man,
tough. It was a fine line. I had to get checked a couple times.
oh yeah, for sure.
Evan put me in my place once or twice, and some of the other interns had to say something to me. And I think that first group, that the 5 of us, I think we had a good checks and balances. There were some. I've been a part of some intern groups that, I probably got away with a little more, shit than I probably should have. People just kind of let me. Like, if I was upset or I was trying to be too controlling, like, I think there were some points when I got away with it a little bit more, but that group did a good job. I had to be checked. I've been checked a couple times, and it's always good to have people in your group and around you that can, say, hey, hang on a second.
Yeah, calm your tits, David. But yeah, I mean that's what it is. Like, I think that first group was great. I mean, Tyler, Adam, me, you, and Penny, man, we were all different, but we all were there. I mean, we trained together. We did everything together. We were all on the same level. We all knew each other. It got confusing. I think it gets confusing when you have interns that come in at different waves. That's when it gets really fucking confusing, because you're an intern, but you're this intern, and then you got this other intern. So you're telling the person that makes no money and doesn't have any leadership skills to tell this intern to go do things. You know what I mean? Then that's when the issue becomes. But I mean, that's all but that also teaches the older interns how to deal with interns and how to mentor and how to properly communicate. You know what I mean? Because then you guys are all at the same level. You guys are all doing the same stuff. And that's it. To David's point, you guys done everything. You know what I mean? If you practice what you preach, you do you can only ask somebody to do something if you know how to do it, or if you've already done it. I mean, that goes with everything. Exactly. But yeah. So I just have one final question, okay, before we go, because it's almost time. Some of your favorite quotes, and then some of your favorite books that you've been reading during quarantine. If you're not reading in quarantine, then you're tripping.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, most of the stuff I've been reading recently, actually, I've been on the CSCCA doing their virtual conference. Got some. There's been some gems. It's cool because the way they're doing it is they put out all the articles, they put out all the presentations, and like the people who did them just recorded themselves doing them and put them up, and then they'll do live question and answers like throughout the weeks and stuff. So you can get on a Zoom with them and then do, like, if you've read their article, they'll just open it up for questions, and you got all these coaches getting on, asking good questions and stuff. And so that's really what I've kind of been digging into recently. The most recent book I read, because I never really had gotten around to it, is I'm reading the Supple Leopard book. Have you read that?
I need to read that one. That's another book that I need to buy.
About that too.
Yeah.
It's a big one. It's a banger, but it's great. It's really good, and I definitely recommend it. I haven't finished it yet, but I recommend putting it on your bookshelf and getting to it at some point, because it's really cool. It, helps you as far as like just being, taking care of your body, making sure you can adapt to the different strains of life and whatever stage of life you're in, and just, So that's kind of what I've been into.
Okay. All right. Favorite quotes.
I'm not a quote guy. I don't know, honestly. I'm really like, I'm terrible for that. And like, everybody's always posting these great quotes, talking about these great quotes from these great people. But I mean,
all right, you're not a quote guy. You're not.
I apologize.
I'm gonna fucking pull teeth for you to give me.
Like for real. Like I should have went through my note. I got my notebook. I should have went through it and looked at kind of the gems that people have kind of laid out for me. But because I do write them down when people say stuff, but I don't have them on hand.
Yeah.
I think if you watch the Last Dance MJ documentary, pretty much anything Michael Jordan says in that are my favorite quotes. he was just laying them out.
It's such a good and easy answer, though. Like, it's just as good.
Hey, if you don't want to play that way, you don't got to play.
That's exactly what I was about to say. If you don't want to play that way, don't play that way. That's legitimately was my mentality when I was interning. Like, hey, I'm coming in full steam. Like, here I am.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of it. That's kind of my mentality just with coaching in general. It's just it's 100% or 0%, and like you have to make that decision. And I'm not going to judge. Like that was my thing with when I intern with people. That's my thing with interns now. When you talk to them about what they want to do, or other coaches, like, I don't care. Like, I'm not going to judge if this isn't what you want to do. I'm not going to judge if you don't want to put the work in.
Yeah.
But I'm going to do it. So don't resent me. Don't get mad at me. Like, I'm getting this done for myself. This is how I'm going to put food on the table. This is how I'm going to feed my family. This is how I'm going to make it what I want to do.
Yeah.
And I love it. So like, I'm putting that work in. So get on the trainer, get run over by it. Either one.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Love that. Okay. All right. You guys have any other questions?
Mine's out already.
Yeah,
Okay.
he answered everything for me.
All right. So I want to ask one more question, and then we're gonna go.
You said one more question 2 more questions ago.
Just one more, bro. Like, let me do my hosting thing. I'm bad at this. I'm getting used to it. Okay. Anyway,
you'll get better. That's how it works, man. You just got to keep pumping it out.
Exactly. It's all about consistent content. But I want to ask the final question. Okay, last question. Your favorite story of our internship together?
Please
favorite story of our internship. Oh no, I got the story. This is day 2 of interning with Evan, and it's still to this day my favorite story. We have to go out and set up the field.
Oh shit! Yeah.
For the run. And so we're just doing like doing PTs, laps around the field, and we set the cones up on the corners of the field so the guys can kind of round the corners off. And we all walked out there. We set up. We went back inside, got the weight room set up. We come out with the team. The team is out there, lined up, ready to go. And Coach E walks out there, and he looks at one of the corners, and he goes, "Who in the hell set up this corner? You were supposed to put the cones 5 yards in from the corner. 5 yards. One thing every strength coach knows how to do is step off 5 yards. You can step off 5 yards." Evan had put the cones. He put one cone 5 yards because you could go by the lines of the field, and then the one in the end zone, he might have put like 2.5 yards in because his small ass legs took 5 steps and didn't make it 5 yards. And Coach could see it from across the field.
Damn.
And I've never seen Evan so quiet and embarrassed to this day. He just he's like he came out and admitted Coach, that was me.
Yeah, that was my fault, man.
How in the hell do you not know how to step off 5 yards? Are you a strength coach? Blah, blah, blah. Oh, man, to this day is my favorite story.
In
He
front
was
of
so
the whole team, bro. I think that was day 2 of the internship, and I never even seen the guys yet. Like
Yeah.
their
Yeah.
first introduction
The
with me.
whole team standing right there,
So,
Well,
watching this poor kid just get eaten alive.
coach, you like. I mean, my nickname was fucking Chubbs. Like Coach every day. Well, I love Coach E for it, man. But yeah,
sure.
man. But yeah, man. Great talk. I really appreciate you coming on.
I appreciate you guys having me for sure.
Yeah, for sure, man.
But this is for the viewers, man. A like and subscribe goes a long way. We appreciate all you guys' support through this time. We'll be dropping a lot more content soon for you guys. But again, thank you, David. And this isn't a weird thing to say, okay? Because I know his mom. Okay, say hi to your mom and your dad for me, because they're like my second parents in Syracuse. Okay, don't be judging. Okay, but
You're welcome at our dinner table anytime, my guy.
I appreciate you guys. All right, guys. So I'll talk to you guys soon. Thank you, David, for this time, man.
have a good
All right,
one.
boy.
Yeah, man.
All right, guys.